Welcome back, beautiful people. In today's video, we're going to talk about social factors. If you are new here and you have not subscribed, please do subscribe, because on this channel, we talk about so many things can affect on our mental health and affect on how we feel, how we see things, how we function in our society. So in today's video, we're focusing on social factors. Welcome, Listra. Please, do you mind telling us? Thank you. Do you mind telling us what do you understand social factors in terms of mental health?
Okay, so social is anything which relates to our relationship with our environment. So that's relationship with family, friends, and the general population. So things which affect our social, like isolation, stigmatization, discrimination, and all these other factors, such as, let me see,
Maybe let me help you a little bit. So you just mentioned some of the factors that could be under social factors. You mentioned isolation, lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what could make somebody feel lonely? What could make someone feel isolated? What kind of things contribute to this person to start developing loneliness and feeling they are isolated?
Okay, so I will give an example of myself, for instance. For instance, I live on my own, basically, most of the time. And I could feel lonely and isolated, but I do not. Because of my mindset, because I find purpose in my life. And if I am feeling lonely, then I call somebody and talk with them. So I take that initiative not to feel that I am, even though I'm alone, I do not feel lonely and isolated. Because of illness, ill health, I'm unable to leave the house 98% of the time. However, I find things to do to occupy myself so that I would not feel lonely. So some people, if you are lonely because of your feeling, because your illness, because of illness, or because you live alone, for instance, or because you're, in my case, it's not that my family don't support me. So it's just they're not there. They live very far away, like 5,000 miles.
Wow.
So, but we speak occasionally, and when we speak for long periods. So if I'm speaking with one person today, then I have to speak with one person because that's the hour talk over an hour.
That's good.
So therefore, my point is that you can be lonely without feeling isolated, without feeling lonely. You can't be on your own. You can't be ill. You can't be. It's all to do with mindset and how you want to feel. You remember, you in control of what happens in your life. Nobody else is. And nobody would take that initiative to make you feel inclusive. You have to do something to feel included.
Lisra, you just mentioned something really very, very conclusive. And that really clicks with me, because I remember when my son was just diagnosed with autism. Prior to that, I knew that something was wrong, but I didn't know what was wrong. So I was, of course, bothered because, you know, I could see that something is wrong and I didn't know what was that. But the minute he was diagnosed with autism, my mind was like, okay, I'm going to be myself. I just decided I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be lonely. And I can tell you that from that minute, no one could come to my house, either my relatives, either my neighbors. No one was coming to my house. People were calling, they want to come. I will say I'm not there. And sometimes I won't pick up their call because I get to that point where I feel like maybe let me and my son, let's just go away somewhere in isolated land where I can just be myself and raise my child there with nobody around me. I think what was going around my mind though was judgment, because from where I come from, people with learning difficulties, people with autism, they are seen differently. So I started now thinking about all those kind of things associated with having a child with autism and how people in my society, family, how they are going to be seeing me and how they are going to be seeing my son. So I decided from today, I'm going to be lonely. So I think being lonely and feeling isolated, most of the time we make that choice. We make that choice of being away from everybody until you realize, what have I done? And then you start coming back. Because I remember when I allowed myself, I think I needed that moment. I needed that time to be by myself, to just sit down there and absorb everything to do with autism, learn much more to do with autism and how I can support my child. Although I didn't get much information as I needed, but I remember that it was really, really helpful for me to have that lonely time where I feel sad, where I cry, where I feel like the world has just crashed on me. And soon after that, I think maybe I stayed in that kind of environment. It wasn't more than 1 month or 2. And now I said, hell no, this life is no good. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not talking to anyone. And no one is coming to my house. I was like, no, because I'm someone who I love people around me. I love the fact that I have to cook for them and come here, we eat it together. I love that. And I missed that 2 months of feeling lonely. I was like, okay, this is enough for now. Let me get out of it. So I think from what you just said is that on how in decision we make for ourselves and for our life and how we allow that situation to drag instead of realizing, okay, I'm not in a good position. I think I need to come out and go back to my own self. Because that moment, you're not yourself. Definitely, you're not yourself. Because, if you are yourself, you feel very happy about what you are doing. You feel so proud about everything that is around you. But that moment, I wasn't. So, which means that it's just about how long we take to stay in that kind of environment and how we allow ourselves to just come back to be our own self. So,
yeah.
apart from the feeling lonely and isolated, there are some more other factors. Do you have any idea some of those?
Okay, things like stigmatization, for instance. And that's a big one because if you have a mental illness, you stigmatize as well. So you're stigmatized before you become mentally unwell, and when you become mentally well, you become stigmatized and even more. So you're further down in your mental state, mental illness. So that means you have a lot of work to do to elevate yourself. And therefore, that's why the medical professionals are become important, because now you need somebody to help dig you out of that pit. Because society is good at helping you to go down. That default is going down. You go according to gravity. But you are the one who have to pick yourself up. And even though people will help you, there's no way they can help you without you doing something.
I think, Risra, let's think again. We are living in a society where you have where you come from, I have where you come from. We have this cultural beliefs that, we should live this way, we should dress this type, we should meet this kind of people, we should this type of religions. And you realize that when you're not falling into your cultural favorism or whatever, how your culture want to be, and then most of us, and then that's why you realize we become very isolated. We started feeling, people start giving us this stigma because you're not doing this, you're not obeying your culture, and this is why this is happening to you, because you have not been following this and this and that. And I think most of us, we have been trapped because you grow up in this particular society where you are born and you realize, okay, your parents are Catholic, for example, in terms of religious, okay, and they'll be like, okay, you need to become one, or you need to become Pentecost, or you need to, whatever religions you want to go. And so people forget that although you were born in that particular culture or society, but you have your own thinking. You have your
you're
own
an individual.
belief. You are growing up as someone who is well-made, created. You are here for a purpose. Your parent purpose is not your own purpose. And we have realized that our parents, they don't see that you are here for your own purpose. And they still want to follow, your mother is, she's a teacher, so I should be a teacher. Or my father is a bus driver, so I should be a bus driver. I mean, we all have for a purpose. So whatever life you choose to do as an adult or even as a child, I always feel like, because we all have intuition, and this intuition starts from the very time you start walking and started talking, and you will see a baby, there are two toys on the floor, the baby will choose one and leave another. So intuition is already working. So why don't you allow somebody to use their own intuition instead of introducing your own and make somebody feel they are doing something that is out of their culture or is out of their religions or is out of their belief? I don't know. How do you understand this?
And that's why I think there are a little bit of problems in between relationships, because the parents expect you to be meaning them. For example, if they're Christian, they expect you to be Christian. You can't be anything else. If they expect you to be married at a certain age, to have kids, to go to get a certain education, to have a certain amount of money. So they expect, sometimes the expectation of you is not what you expect of yourself. Sometimes you are minimalist. So you don't need all these things. You prefer to plant things. You're a farmer, and they expect you to be a doctor. You are right in that each of us have our own pathway to follow, and no two paths are the same. Some of them might be similar, but they are not the same. And therefore, nobody should feel disappointed because we've chosen our path.
Yeah, I think I embrace having culture, I embrace having religions, growing up in that kind of environment where there is all this belief, all this culture. But I think what I don't agree with is when someone is starting to find their own way and then they are being discriminated against of what they are doing because they are not following the culture path, and or maybe they are not being a part of that type of religions. I think as growing up as a child, I remember most of the things that I grew up in a Christian family, and I loved that. I embraced it. I loved it because we had this structure and it was so amazing. It was just nice flow. But then the more I grow, the more I become adult and finding my own way. Maybe I realize some of the practices that we used to do presently to me, they are not necessary. And so these kind of things, we all evolve over time. And we should be allowed to evolve on how, depending on how somebody's feeling, the society where you are, education. So we should be allowed, but you realize in most of society or cultural, they or have this certain belief, they still stick on what they believe and they don't allow their children to be. So it's very good to grow up definitely in this kind of environment. But when we are growing, we're having our own mind. You've got your own purpose. I've got my own purpose. Of course, I'm not saying that if you see that I'm doing something completely wrong, you're not going to advise. Please do advise me. But then I've got my own intuition. Let that intuition guide me. And if I end up whatever I've chosen not working for me, it's my learning path. We all have learning to do, and the learning never stop until maybe we come out of this body. And so that's where you realize that there's so much stigmatization in a society, so much pressure on the children, on the wives, on husband, and because they are not where this other person feel like they should be, and so they make other feel not comfortable, not living their own life. I think if you remember the other video we spoke about, the other conversation we had, we spoke about how things we say to each other are much more are very important, and we should be very careful on how we communicate, on how if you see something wrong, please correct me, but don't criticize me, don't judge me. Just treat me as I am. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's another part of discrimination whereby people sometimes think that they are better than other people. And you do find it, even though people are similar in complexion, you do see that happening in between. Yeah. So people always find reasons why the other person is different. So it's not just between white and black, but it's between black and black as well.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, of course.
So
and even a family, and even within the family as well. I'm better, you are not. I'm doing well, you are not. I'm successful, you are not. All those kind of things. Yeah. And
comparisons.
yeah, and these are the things that makes people ending up. Now you can imagine you are my sister and you are telling me, okay, I own this, I've got big wallet, I'm very successful, and you are not. And that's when you realize some people are ending up into starting taking drugs because now they are thinking you know, why I'm coming, this is my sister, why she's successful and I'm not successful. My friend is successful, why I'm not successful? And people start ending up taking drugs, things that can help them control their mental state.
Mhm. Because also, what point was I going to make? The
Yeah.
point was left of my head. Yeah, so I have to recoil on what I was thinking again. Oh, okay. Do you have anything to say in the meantime while I'm
Yeah,
thinking?
yeah, I was going to say that so when it comes to that kind of, especially let's say gender-wise, if no matter from where I come from, boys are much more important in a family than girls. And even in some families, I think things have changed now, but still some people right now still prioritize their sons over their girls. And even they make sure that the boys are much more educated. They will sell land, they will do everything to make sure that the boys are much more educated than girls. But it's not that the
Yeah.
case. What you are doing, you are really destroying the children, these kids' outcome, because they're all the same. We can all achieve the best life. Did you want to
Yes.
say something,
Yes. So,
Lisa?
so that brought me back to the point of comparisons. Because, okay, as you mentioned, in some cultures, boys are more considered more important. However, I saw a show once, and the reason why I'm just showing some comparison. This girl, she was born to a king, and the king was a good fighter, and his brother bore a boy, and the brother said, "Okay, let's exchange the children because you win the son as the heir, and I could grow up the girl." But the girl ended up to be a better fighter than the boy. The boy couldn't fight, couldn't even hold a sword. So
Oh my
she
God.
ended up proving herself that she was suitable to be the heir of the throne rather than the son, rather than the brother's son, even though he is a boy. So the thing is, my point is that sometimes we discriminate against boys and girls. And the fathers usually blame the mothers for giving them a boy. But the mother is not responsible for the gender of the child. It is the father because he has the power to give the Y chromosome to get a boy if he wants.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's random. So therefore he has no control over if it's a boy or girl either. So if you're a man and you blame the woman for giving you a girl child, you are totally wrong. It's not her fault and it's your fault, if anything. But it's not your fault because it is random. The genes are given random. So you can get a girl or boy. It's like playing Russian roulette.
I think what I can add to that is that we need to stop thinking that there is someone who is going to be a better person and another one is not going to be, because
Mhm.
we all here for purpose. So
Mhm.
either someone is a boy or is a girl, we all here for purpose, and we are all here to be as one, work as one spirit, and work together and make this beautiful world a better place for everyone to be. So
Absolutely.
in terms of whatever how you are feeling at the moment, if you have had this experience of discrimination or you have this experience of feeling isolated or feeling lonely, I think, or maybe even being judged because of where you come from and you're not following your culture or the family belief and all that, I think take a time and have that forgiveness time. Don't let
Mhm.
these things take over your mental health, because
Yeah.
one thing I want you to know is that we are here for purpose, and your family can never get to know what is your purpose until you pursue your purpose and show them this is why I am here. So I really want to say that don't let all these things, cultural, society, stigma, take over your mind. It's okay to be in that situation, but just come back and be your own self. Because when we are ourselves, we are much more loving, productive, and we are much more, we live to the fullest. So I will really encourage anyone who is feeling anyway, rather than feeling their own self, to come out of it and just live your life to the fullest, because that's why you are here. Don't let anyone make you feel you less than any other person. And let's make this beautiful world to be a better place to live and everyone to be here and enjoy the stay. What do you think?
Yes, and remember to forgive, because forgiveness is for you, not for the other person. It's for your healing. So
Yeah.
remember, forgive and subscribe to our channel to get more videos.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. And if you've liked the conversation today, or you would like to make any comment, please do make any comment. And also, as we said, every single week we release a video discussing different things that could affect our mental health and how we can support one another to overcome these things, so that we can all live in a beautiful place and a loving society. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.